time is one of those things you can never get back. So thank you so much for choosing to spend your afternoon with us.
Welcome to Audacy Digital. I'm your host for today, your boy DJ Scratch with 94.7 The Block. You can catch me every Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. in the mix. And today we're going to celebrate a queen from the County of Kings, Grammy nominated, legendary MC. Make some noise for MC Lyte, please.
Hello. Thank you.
All right, so we've all seen your career blossom from the beginning to where it is now. But what a lot of people don't know is the beginning. So that's what I want to focus on the beginning of your career. So what was your first exposure to hip hop? What was your first exposure?
My first exposure was in Spanish Harlem, where my grandma, my Nana, lived, and all of my cousins who were maybe 5, 6 years older than me, they were all listening to cassettes. And I remember hearing the Funky 4 Plus One More, the Treacherous 3, and of course, I think Curtis Blow was doing some things at that time. It was a big deal because one of my cousins knew his brother, Kim. It's like, oh, my cousin knows Curtis Blow's brother, it was a big deal. But anyway, that was my introduction. And also, of course, I want to highlight Sha Rock being the first female MC that I heard rock the mic.
Sha Rock.
Yeah, so that was the first. And then back in Brooklyn, we was rockers music, so I was listening to Yellow Man and Shabba Ranks and all of them. But when hip hop finally landed in Brooklyn, I remember being at a block party and listening to Sucker MCs. Mm-hmm. Oh, but wait, before that it was Sequence and Rapper's Delight.
Rapper's Delight, yeah. Mm-hmm. So break down the process of you getting your first record deal.
My first record deal. Well, I had a friend named Eric Cole, who we went to school together in junior high school. In high school, we went to separate schools, but we still stayed in touch. And he pretty much coached me on how to write my lyrics and all of that stuff. Well, he called me one day while I was in high school, and he asked me, did I want to go meet a record label that was looking for a female MC? And I was like, sure. And, of course, I had to ask my mom. And literally the decision as to whether it would happen or not was all hers. Right. Because she had to allow me to get on the Staten Island ferry, to go to Staten Island. And, what I later knew was an audition. I thought I was just going to meet some people. Right. Matter of fact, I don't think I had ever been on an audition, much less even knew what it took to audition. I just went with my little rhyme book. And once I got there, they were like, oh, this is the Tascam 4-track. Remember that?
Yeah.
4 tracks. And so, they listened to me rap. I guess they were all checking me out. And then they were going to talk about me later as to whether or not I met the test or passed the test. And so I kicked out these rhymes or whatever. And Milk made up the beat to I Cram to Understand You right there on the spot. I said this rhyme that I had in my book, I think since I was 12. And then later on, they called and said, we'd like to sign you to the label.
So that was the first record that you recorded? I Cram?
Yeah, I Cram to Understand You. I recorded it at Clark Kent's house also. Maybe
DJ Clark Kent.
Yeah,
salute.
DJ Clark Kent's house about a year before that. But just to some obscure beat. It wasn't a made up beat. It was a sample, like he was scratching in.
Yeah. Do y'all still have a copy of that?
A track. He might.
Yeah, I'm going to have to call Clark.
Okay. Yeah, call him. So in any case, yes, that was the first record was the first record I recorded in that studio, which was I Cram to Understand You.
Cool. How long did it take to make your first album, Light as a Rock?
Not long at all. I think the guys, between King of Chill and Milk, and I think Prince Paul was on that album, and I think Pooh was on that album as well. It didn't take long. They had the tracks, and I had a book of rhymes. So I don't even know that I had to really write anything for that album. It all was pretty much my whole life up until that point waiting to record.
Right. People always, we see on the Instagram and it pisses us off, these lists, all of these different lists and debates and stuff like that. And people always talk about, the greatest storytellers of all time. So everybody says Slick Rick, everybody says Biggie. And I would jump into the comments and I would always say, y'all always forget about MC Lyte. one of the greatest storytellers of all time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And, thank you for saying that. I owe that all to Slick Rick and Melly Mel. When I heard the message, I just was infatuated. I think I wrote down all the words. I knew all the lyrics. He vividly painted a picture of the Bronx. I had not been there yet. And so from both of them being able to really tell those stories so with so much detail, they definitely influenced and inspired me.
Let's talk about your acting career. When did you start getting into acting, and what was your first acting role?
The first role I did, I believe, was in '91. It's a movie. It might be called Fly By Night, I think. I don't.
We were both in that movie.
Oh, we were.
Yeah.
So that is the title.
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
1991.
So it was between that and a play. So one of those was my first acting job. It was an off-Broadway play that I did with Wyclef, Lauryn Hill, Lisa Nicole Carson, Darren Henson, and there might be one other person that I'm actually forgetting. But in any case, out of those two, it was the first. And I did have an audition that went horribly. It's a working adjective.
You said it.
Yeah. It went terrible. How about that? I wasn't ready, and there are some things in life that you can just systematically do and it works out okay. But there are certain things that you must prepare for. And if no one ever says you need to prepare, you might even think that you're cool enough to just walk in there and do it well. And that was not the case with acting.
What was the role?
I didn't have no business in that movie anyway. It was like Nightmare on Elm Street. It was like one of them like scary movies, which I don't really like. And now that I can sort of pick and choose what I want, they know I don't do goblins, ghosts. I don't do Draculas, werewolves. I don't mess around with any of that kind of stuff because acting, you're really trying to embody this character. And I don't want to have to, I'm already moving through a city with what now, 8 million stories?
Yeah.
And so let me stay away from anything that's esoteric in that kind of way. So, but anyway, I wasn't prepared. So what I decided is to move to LA and get into acting class. And so I went to acting school for about 2 years. And then I did For Your Love and, Half and Half. And yeah.
And then your other pivot, you pivoted again.
Okay.
You pivoted again. And I'll say this, and I'm going to say this for everybody that's watching and everybody that's in this room listening. MC Lyte is now the voice of the culture. You doing voiceovers. How did you get into doing voiceovers?
Well, I always wanted to do voiceover. I was enrolled to attend Norfolk State University to major in communications because I heard Carol Ford on radio here in New York. And I was like, that her voice sounds like mine. I want to do that. And so that didn't happen. But years later, I was at CD Radio, which then turned into Sirius. I was doing hot jams there. And then I did Cafe Mocha, which was on 40 stations around the nation. It just felt like a natural progression. But when it came time for the shows and for commercials, I went and I took voiceover coaching classes so that I know how to use my voice.
And I just appreciate you still loving to do music.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of us from our era, they don't want to do music anymore for whatever reasons. Mm-hmm. So I just appreciate you, me personally appreciate you for still being a great artist.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I didn't even know that the love for hip hop was still embedded in me the way that it is. And it was sparked. And because of that, I got into a real zone about what I wanted to say, how I wanted to say it, what I wanted to say it on, who I wanted to say it with. It just became laser focused, and it hadn't been that way for a while because life, I'm trying to do this and that and broadening the business. And so it is easy to take your eyes off of something that means so much to you when you have all of these other things going as well as distractions. And so once I was able to sit down and get it going, I just was really excited.
Who was somebody on your new album that you were like, I can't believe I just did a record with this person?
Um,
You want to say it?
yeah, Stevie Wonder. Yeah, totally. Stevie Wonder. We've got so many great folks on the record. Of course, we have production by Scratch, which I'm really excited about. Eric Dawkins sings on that record, who is part of the Dawkins brothers. They write a lot. But then we've got Q-Tip and Tony Braxton, and we've got 2 albums. So Tony is on the second one. Anthony Hamilton is on the second one. On the first, we've got Common and
How was that Stevie session though?
you know what's so funny is he called Warren and he said, "Okay, y'all could come down. I'm gonna do it." So we went down to the studio, and he was in the middle of recording a song for himself, which was fantastic. So we were waiting, and then after that, he had to eat. We waited through him eating, went back into the studio, and he says, "I think I'm gonna do it tomorrow." I was like, "What?"
Stevie tired.
I was like, he had us come all the way down. Okay. Okay.
It's Stevie.
Yeah, you gotta just be grateful to be in the room. And so we left, and then the following day I was like, is he gonna do this? You know, so I hit Warren up all, can you find out if he's gonna do it? Oh, I forgot to call you. He did it already and he sent it to me. I was like, thanks. I'm over here sweating because we're at the 9th hour. But yeah, he did it, and he also played the harmonica at the end. And you know, he's such a sweet and loving guy.
I'm a fan.
Well, let me just say this. I'm also a fan of yours, Scratch. Thank you so much for working with me in terms of what we had to go through with the record and to get it to where it is right now. And I thank all of you for being here. I understand that time is one of those things you can never get back. So I respect your time, and thank you so much for choosing to spend your afternoon with us. This is a whole new mission, having to step into this arena, Warren and I, with an independent record.
Give it up for MC Lyte, y'all.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very, very much.